Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today we're going to be visiting a deck list that we actually just started with a few weeks ago, and that's going to be Izzet Prowess. The reason that we're going over this deck again is because, well, it's nowhere near the same as the one we played before. Last time we played a spectacle-based list that had Kamano faces Kakazan, Light Up the Stage, what's the other one? Skewer the Critics, and a more mono-red based plan on the Prowess shell. Here, we've got a much more blue deck than we had before, where we're playing Consider, Opt, Treasure Cruises, Expressives, and a lot of these cards were in the other version of the deck, but that one was a lot less blue than this one is. Also of note, this deck gets to play 4 Reckless Rages, which is a huge deal as far as removal goes in this format right now. You have your Soulscar Mage and your Monastery Swift Spear, which don't die to the 2 damage that you would deal to your own creature with the Reckless Rage, which is sweet. Ledger Shredder, of course, has 3 toughness, so it won't die to a Reckless Rage, and 4 toughness happens to be the sweet spot right now. It hits a lot of really important creatures. Out of the Winota deck, it hits both Winota and a Seeker's Chariot. Out of any of the black-red midrange deck, it hits a Graveyard Trespasser, whether it's flipped or not. And out of the mono-green deck, it'll hit cards like Old Growth Troll, whatever the 3-drop is that fetches lands, and it just does a significant amount of damage to their bigger creatures too. So if you're fighting down like a Voracious Hydra that has 1,000,000 mana pumped into it, or even like a Cavalier, 4 damage is a pretty big chunk of damage, especially if you have a Soulscar Mage on the table. So there's a lot of really cool things to do here. Like we've got Sprite Dragon and Ledger Shredder to fly over our opponents, and you know, they get bigger with our spells, which is exactly what we want, and they stay bigger unlike Prowess creatures, which is really important for when you just need to, you know, have an attrition based game with your opponent and you're both kind of running out of gas. Well, they're running out of gas and they have whatever creatures they started with. However, your creatures are growing every time you cast a spell. So, woo, let's go. And just 8 Prowess creatures here means that you have a pretty reasonable aggro plan too. So you can play like turn 1 Swift Spear, Soulscar Mage, turn 2 like one of these 2-drops or another Prowess creature in a spell, and all of a sudden you're off to the races. So good early, and thanks to all of the card advantage we have in this deck, also good late. That's usually the recipe to just a good deck overall. In our sideboard, we've got all kinds of cool stuff that we didn't have before. We've got 2 Aether Gusts, 2 Negates, 1 copy of Mystical Dispute, and if I'm being completely honest, I don't even really know that I want to dispute, but it's got enough good matchups here to the point where I think 1 is fine. This deck could play either 2 or 0, and I don't know that I would argue against either. The big thing here is that I want to play specifically Negate instead of Spell Pierce because of the types of spells that we specifically care about as a Prowess deck. A lot of the games are going to go late, and your opponents are going to try to play big giant cards that are just better than each of your individual low-costed cards. That means that by the time you would be casting a Spell Pierce, a lot of the times it's probably largely irrelevant. And by the time you actually care about countering a spell, instead of being more proactive with your plan, the likelihood of you having 2 mana available is almost indistinguishable from holding up 1 mana. So it's not like you're trying to hold up, you know, a Negate on turn 2 for their turn 2 play, or even for most of their turn 3 plays. You're trying to play this for like their turn 4 or turn 5 play, where you're still going to get to cast a spell like a removal spell, Opt, Consider, Expressive, etc., and hold up 2 more mana so that you can be reactive with your Negate or even your Aether Gust, and then untap and kind of continue your aggressive plan again. So I don't think the extra mana on Negate in this type of lists ends up actually holding the card back because of the types of games you're going to be wanting to play with this deck anyway. So I really like the 2 of Negate, especially if we end up fighting against mono green, right? Because by the time we're countering planeswalkers like Karn, like Nissa, or even like a really late top deck of Kiora, you're still going to be pretty happy to have Negate rather than Spell Pierce because they have 1,000,000 mana available at basically all times. So the likelihood of Spell Pierce actually having text against mono green is pretty low, but Negate, chef's kiss. Our removal suite over here is just going to be all the red cards, right? Like we've got 2 copies of Red Cap Melee, which are especially good with Soulscar Mage. But the way this works is that, you know, you deal 4 damage to whatever the thing is. It can be any creature, any planeswalker, but if it's red, then you sack a land. And that's good enough on its own. It kills Winota, it kills opposing Prowess creatures and Sprite Dragons, and that's a good chunk of the top of the format right now. It also doesn't hurt that mono red is a very real deck in this format. The way Soulscar Mage works with it, though, is that this does -1 counters instead of damage, and that's important. The way red cap melee reads is that if a non-red permanent is dealt damage this way, then you sacrifice a land, but with Soulscar Mage, you never deal damage. So even if you deal 4 damage to something like, say, an Seeker's Chariot, which is green, you still don't sack a land because you never actually dealt it damage. You just put 4 -1 counters on it. So hopefully that actually comes up at some point this league. I want to kill a non-red creature with red cap melee and not sacrifice a land. We have 4 copies of Rending Volley, and these are going to be important in a couple of matchups, right? Like, Mono Blue Spirits is very good in the format right now. A little bit less so because this deck exists, but it's still going to be popular enough to the point where I definitely want Rending Volleys. Also, Winota's white. What's the removal creature? Brutal Cathar is white. There's a lot of other blue creatures in the format. Ledger Shredder, hi, looking at you. And Sprite Dragon is also blue. So having an uncounterable solution to a lot of these creatures for just 1 mana is a super huge deal because it lets us be really productive and it gives us the highest chance of playing 2 spells in a turn for our own Ledger Shredders. I'm a really big fan of that. Crush the Weak is another really good one. It is a sorcery speed thing, which makes it a little less tricky to play than, like, say, Flame Sweep, which is probably a little bit of a better sweeper if it weren't for the text that says the creature that dies gets exiled instead. That's really important in this deck. The reason for that is because Voice of Resurgence exists in Winota, and when Voice of Resurgence is exiled, they don't get the elemental token, and that's a really big deal, right? Like, sometimes the tokens are just gonna get to be like 3/3s, 4/4, sometimes bigger, and they can crew a Seeker's Chariot. A Seeker's Chariot can attack and make more of these elemental tokens. So the fact that Crush the Weak prevents Voice of Resurgence from ever actually getting an elemental token in the first place is a super huge deal. It's also really nice that Crush the Weak can just, you know, wipe out multiple mana elves, or if you're on the play against the Prowess opponent, you can play your own Prowess creatures on turn 1 or turn 2, and in turn 3 you can Crush the Weak while they're probably tapped out because, I don't know, say they're casting Expressive or something, and you get to keep your creatures because you have Prowess, and their creatures are going to die because they're probably tapped out and you're doing things with them. So I'm going to be really excited to hopefully sweep a lot of our opponent's creatures here. Another really cool new card here is going to be Unlicensed Hearse, and honestly, when I was going over the Streets of New Capenna stuff, right, I saw the Unlicensed Hearse and I was impressed. I thought the card was going to be pretty good, especially in decks like Spirits and like Merfolk, the decks that I play in Modern and Legacy, because of the fact, of course, that you have a million creatures that are 2 powers, so you can immediately crew the Unlicensed Hearse, and if you want to attack with it, awesome. And if you don't want to attack with it, honestly, that's probably better because you're exiling somebody's graveyard and you care about their graveyard, right? So Unlicensed Hearse has a lot of text and a lot of ability to be great. It is much better than I thought. I thought this card was going to be pretty impressive. It is way better than that. So Unlicensed Hearse is like $15 on Magic the Gathering Online right now, and it's for a good reason. Again, the hype surrounded about this card is very real, and just about anything that's packing creatures will have a great time playing this card. It'll attack for, honestly, I was already excited to attack for like 4 and 6 sometimes with this, but I've seen it attack for like 10 to 14 every now and then, and it's really, really, really strong, especially if you're fighting against something with a graveyard strategy, right? Like, we're playing Pioneer today, so if I play against, I don't know, black-red midrange that plays Kroxa, if I play against a Neoform deck that plays Delve creatures, or anything else that just like accidentally uses the graveyard, right? Like maybe even opposing Treasure Cruise decks or Dig Through Time decks, any of those will not enjoy seeing us play an Unlicensed Hearse. So to be completely honest, I, by the end of this league, may want 2 Unlicensed Hearse and 0 Mystical Dispute instead of 1 and 1, but we'll see what ends up happening. I still think Dispute is at least worth playing, but again, if we were to play 0 instead of 1, or even go up to 2 instead of 1, I can see arguments for either case. So we'll keep an eye out on that as the league progresses. And of course, our last sideboard card is going to go to Jegantha, because it's basically free to play in this deck. This deck doesn't really hurt for sideboard spots too much. Like, basically you're picking what blue cards do you want to interact with, what red cards do you want to kill the best creatures with, and then like 1 or 2 other spots. And we figured out the 1 or 2 other spots with Unlicensed Hearse. So that's going to be what we're doing today. I'm really excited to play this deck. I already like playing blue-red decks. Like, this is one of my very first Legacy decks, like right after Delver slash Miracle cards came out, so this is kind of near and dear to my heart. Like, I've been playing blue-red decks much longer than I've been playing Spirits, if that tells you anything. And I hope this is going to be just as much fun as I remember blue-red decks being back in the day. So I will see y'all in round 1, and yeah, buckle up for a good one, I hope. Yo, so sorry about the technical difficulties. I did get them fixed by the end of this video though, so we will have audio, we will have lots more content and stuff to go over. What ended up happening for the rest of this Winota match was that they did end up drawing a 4th land, but as we saw, we have Aether Gust in the deck already. So we got to keep the Aether Gust in hand. We got to just get some cool attacks in. And when they did actually try to resolve a Winota, we had the Aether Gust on hand. So we were able to go ahead and kind of connect for the finish there, winning our first round. So thanks for sticking with me through these technical difficulties. I'm glad we finally got over it. And I will see y'all in round 2. Okay, so I think we've solved most of the technical difficulties, which is nice. So what happened was I had to play with fire. They had a Monastery Swiftspear. I have so far this turn used Play with Fire to kill the Swiftspear in their upkeep because they were hellbent. They just played a second copy of Ramunap Ruins. I am at 7. They're looking to probably attack me this turn. I hope they do. Damn it, they don't. And I'm actually going to just untap here. I'm not going to try to connive or get cute with the opt or anything. I do really like that though. So here I'm going to get to Sprite Dragon and Sprite Dragon. That'll trigger this. I can get rid of an opt or a consider. I guess I'll get rid of the opt. So here's this. And now I'm going to get to attack with the Ledger Shredder. So I need to be careful with my life total because I don't necessarily want to deal with these Bone Crusher Giants plus 2 sacrifices getting to kill me, so I can't let either of these go through, which, to be honest, is a little annoying, but I can at least do things in their upkeep again. So I'm going to get to take 2 here. I go to 5. I think kind of okay, actually. And I also want to... No, I want to wait until their turn to potentially proc this as well. So I can... Yeah, I don't think this is that bad. So let's do this now. Okay, gonna yield to these things. So let's resolve the consider. I do want that in my graveyard. Oh man. Okay, fine. So not the end of the world, since I still have the Den of the Bugbear up and stuff, so I'll be able to double block the Bone Crusher Giant and single block the other one, even though I didn't get a spell. It doesn't make me happy that we didn't get a spell, but it's what it is. So let's block, and then I'm stuck blocking that one because I don't want to die to Ramunap Ruins. So I'm gonna get to keep one of my creatures, probably the Soul Scar. It is the Soul Scar, and my 2 Sprite Dragons are gonna die, but I do have a third one here. I can also fire up Den of the Bugbear as a blocker, which is nice. So that's a good thing to know. If this is a damage spell, I do just kind of lose on the spot. It's a land. Shoo! Alright, looks like our Multi 5 might actually get us there. So yeah, definitely fingers crossed on that end. So let's untap. I have an EI. Oh man, that's good. And I think I still like doing it in this order. Oh, hell yeah, let's go. So Soul Scar in hand, this in the deck, this in the exile zone. So now I can play this. And I'll get to connive Soul Scar Mage away. So what do we got? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, hell yeah, let's go. Let's go Prowess cards. Graveyard, I guess no. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is 11? Am I missing anything? I don't think I'm missing anything. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, this is 11. All right, GG. So we escape round 1, and I'm sorry, we escape game 1 against Mono Red after mulling to 5. Let's go. Against them, I want the Aether Gusts, the Red Cap Melees, and I'm deciding on whether I want the Unlicensed Hearse. I think the answer is no. I don't think Unlicensed Hearse is that good here. Just double checking that real quick. Nothing in the deck actually plays out of the graveyard, and I don't really get that much benefit from it, so I'm gonna skip out on that. And here I'm just gonna skip out on 3 of the ops. Every time I want to draw an op, I would rather just be drawing like a hard removal spell or an Aether Gust to deal with something else. It's kind of the same as the Winota matchup, right? Where I would rather have my deck a lot more focused on things that solve problems rather than digging to cards that solve problems. Since, you know, Red Cap Melee is just like a much better draw than Opt because I'm not, I guess, drawing air when I'm drawing a Red Cap Melee. So we're going to play versus Mono Red. -1 Spike Field, -3 of the Ops, +2 Red Caps, and +2 Aether Gust. So that's going to be our sideboard plan against Mono Red here. And let's submit. So hopefully that goes just as well, because like the game 1 on the draw is already medium difficult, but mulling to 5 is a huge yikes. But the cool thing about this deck was that, you know, we saw that we had a lot of card advantage to make sure that we were able to cross the finish line, right? Like we saw 2 to 3 Expressive Iterations, we saw Treasure Cruise, and those cards really just like dug us back into the game and effectively let us unmulligan. It didn't hurt that, you know, our opponent also decided to point a couple of spells at our face, which, oh man, this again? All right. Well, this is a very maidenless draw, so I'm gonna skip out on this in a second. I do get to deal with the first 2 creatures, which is really nice, but like, what am I doing? So yeah, go away. And this is, wow, leagues better, infinitely better. Keep this, and I'm gonna ship the Consider. I actually think I want all of the lands. So let's go ahead and see what our opponent's going to have cooking for us here, and we'll end up finding out whether I really wanted a Consider over maybe the Sprite Dragon, but we'll find out. So here I'm going to just cast my play my Den of the Bugbear. I'm not casting it, and we'll go from here. So if my opponent doesn't like play anything really that I need to take notice of, then I'm just going to let that chill. If they do play, I don't know what I care about actually. We'll just see it when it comes in. Is it an Eidolon? Oh, okay. That's something I care about quite a bit. Alright, hi, die. Not a fan of going to 18 for the privilege of killing it, but I'd rather do that than not kill it, so untap. Aether Gust, okay. So let's play this, and do I want to just Aether Gust something in hope to draw a 1-drop to go with my Ledger Shredder? I think I would rather have my opponent spend their entire turn solving Ledger Shredder. So all of the cards that they could play that deal with Ledger Shredder that are not named Rending Valley are at least 2 mana. So in most scenarios here, they're going to be stuck using their entire turn to solve this. If, say, they have to like play Land Skewer the Critics, that's an entire turn's worth of stuff. Lava Coil, that counts. So now I get to just go ahead and cast my Sprite Dragon. If they have a removal spell for it, honestly, so be it. But I already can't beat a removal spell when this thing's still a 1/1, so I'm just gonna like let this rock. And if I get to make it to next turn, say I can play like a Shivan Reef and then Aether Gust or something similar, then like that's not bad. Maybe I even get to fire up Den of the Bugbear at some point in the near future. So we have a lot of play. And then of course, all of that's assuming I don't draw any Expressive Iteration or anything. I can also just like spend a turn buying Jeff if I don't see anything super threatening. Hopefully this isn't just like a Chandra, that would really suck. Stomp. Stomp's annoying, but it's not as bad as a Chandra would have been. Oh, come on. What am I supposed to do with this? Yuck. Alright, let's buy Jeff. Good lord. This is, not going super well. So they have 3 cards going up to 4. Effectively 5 with the Bone Crusher. Kamano. Okay, so Kamano and Bone Crusher. That's pretty big. Okay. And you got it. Okay. So Jesus, 3, all 3 too. So we're only playing 3 Shivan Reefs because we know this deck exists, and we of course immediately see all 3. That's not what I want. So I do have this Gigantha that can block the Bone Crusher Giant, which is nice. If they want to couple it with a spell to finish off Jeff, I do not mind the 2-for-1. So I will definitely just like let my opponent do that by all means, yes. So they also have Den of the Bugbear, which is a little annoying, but I have one too, so it's not the end of the world. I almost want my opponent to like Bone Crusher Giant, attack, I block, and then they pay like say all 3 mana for a Skewer. That would be super lovely. Or even 2 mana for a Lava Coil. I would enjoy either of those things, getting the 2 for 1 opponent here. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen, so let's make them use a spell. If it's a Searing Blood, that really sucks. Yeah, don't have Searing Blood. That would suck. Is a Stomp. Okay, so they're going to get another Bone Crusher Giant, which is... ugh. Alright. And now it's going to be a 5/4, which is pretty obnoxious too. So... a Soulscar Mage. Not really what the doctor... oops, did I just tap for blue? I did. Red. Yeah, alright. How to get out of this? So I do have, again, the Aether Gust is nice. They're gonna make a 2/2 with Kamano, and that's obnoxious, but I don't think that's anything I can't deal with. If they have a removal spell for the Soulscar Mage, then honestly I think we're already going to game 3, and that's just kind of what it is. I think we might have some ways to play. So here I would really love to just see more removal spells. Cards like Cruise and Iteration would be really nice here too. So there's their 2/3, I'm sorry, 2/2. So that's kind of whatever. The double Bone Crusher Giant when I'm on the draw and mulliganing again is kind of rough though, but we'd mulligan last time and we won, so maybe we can do it again this time. Skewer the Critics, my Soulscar Mage. Okay, so I'm gonna get to Aether Gust that, and now my Soulscar Mage is going to be a 2/3, which stops Etching from being able to attack. So that at least is something. I don't know that it's great, but it is something. And I guess the best part about this though is that, yeah, 5/4 is pretty threatening, but I'm also still at 17. So if my opponent's just going to try to like attack me down from here, then not great to be taking chunks of 5, but at least it is not just the end of the world. We know that they are going to be drawing Skewer the Critics for their next turn. Okay, so I would love to see just like a card advantage spell. That'd be fantastic. Please and thank you, deck. Oh man, this kind of draw makes me almost wish I put in Crushed a week. Reckless Rage. That's terrible. It's not good, but it's not terrible. We know we are drawing... they are definitely drawing a copy of Skewer the Critics as their draw step. Okay. So they Skewer the Critics to Soulscar Mage. I respond by Reckless Raging to Bone Crusher Giant. Getting rid of that, I take 2. I go to 10. They kill this, and they move to attack me, and I can block a Soulscar with Den of the Bugbear, and then I'm just kind of like trying against the rest of this. I don't think I like that. So instead, what I'm gonna do is this. Attack with the Den of the Bugbear now, and doing this, yeah, so I at least get off a favorable attack with Den of the Bugbear, and they do get to block the 1/1 for basically free, which I guess is fine, because I can just, whatever they block here, I can just Reckless Rage this and this. Yeah, get rid of the Etching. Is that better than having a 2/3 block? Oh, I'm not gonna have a blocker. What am I talking about? Okay, I go to 10. That's dead. So I'm taking 4 this turn, assuming they pay 3 mana to Soulscar Mage me. I'm sorry, to kill my Soulscar Mage. So I'm going to 6 against their Hand of Nothing, and I can draw a blue card to get me up, or just a removal spell since they'll be empty-handed. So that at least is, that's kind of the goal here. I want to just like survive to be able to draw better blue cards. Because any of the Expressive Iteration or Treasure Cruise lines has the potential to dig me back into this game, whereas currently I'm not really doing anything. And the Den of the Bugbear just being able to attack honestly sucks, but until I see more cards in hand, I can't really do anything about that. If they just attack with Den of the Bugbear, I think all I'm going to do here is just like block the token, and they will go ahead and be able to post-combat. Yeah, they'll be able to... No, because they got to tap out to attack. Never mind. They can't post-combat Skewer if they also attack with Den of the Bugbear. So I think this turn they're just going to spend it clearing out my friend here. And looks like that is what's going to happen. So my friend's going to get cleared out. I'm going to go to 6. I untap, and I'm basically hoping to draw a blue card that sees more blue cards. Okay. Step 1. Okay. We are doing things. All right. So... I want to see a Soulscar Mage. Oh, I'm sorry. I want this in my hand. Yes. Hand, you go to the table. Okay. So this time if their card is just a land and they attack, I get to Aether Gust, either Den of the Bugbear or a Soulscar Mage, depending on what their play is, and block with a 2/3. So if this is an instant or a sorcery, that sucks. Hell yeah, let's go. Tap out 2. Tap out 2. All right, so I'm gonna go to 4, and I don't necessarily like that, but I had to wait for that mana to be tapped in order to actually get to do the thing. So I take 1 for the Shivan Reef. The token's gonna come into play. Oh, I'm sorry, I go to 3. Whoops. Oh well. That doesn't change anything from my end. Either way, I'm still kind of crying about this. Okay. So I go to 3, and it was another Den of the Bugbear. Great. Okay, untap. A Swift Spear. That's not going to do it. So we'll go to game 3, but at least that was a hard-fought game 2. So I'm going to keep my sideboard. I'm pretty sure I just want to keep it the same, right? Nah. I'll actually get rid of 2 of the cantrips for Crush the Weeks. I kind of like the idea of that. So let's update our sideboard guide here. -4 opt. -1 consider. For 2 more copies of Crush the Week. So on the play, I think I like Crush the Week even more, because I'll have access to more of the Swift Spears and Soulscar Mages, and I'll make them 2/3s with Crush the Week being a sorcery. I'm more likely to be able to Ledger Shredder into Crush the Week against Prowess creatures, so like that part seems okay. I don't know, I think there's a decent amount of upside here, and if it turns out the board state is one in which Crush the Week sucks anyway, I can just go ahead and get rid of it with Ledger Shredder. So I don't mind having fodder that I don't mind discarding, right? So let's go ahead and reveal Jeff for the 3rd time here. Our hand. Oh my god, what is this? 3 treasure cruises. Why? What am I supposed to do with 3 treasure cruises? The answer is obvious. Cast them and draw 9 cards. But I can't keep this. Okay, this is infinitely better. Yeah, so I'm gonna skip out on the Sprite Dragon once again, and good lord, what am I supposed to do with 3 copies of Treasure Cruise? I can only cast 1, sometimes 2, especially against this deck. I'm not exactly gonna have that much time on my hands, right? So let's... Okay, well, our opponent's also mulling to 6, so I guess about time? I don't really feel bad. But this might not even be that bad for us, right? Like, turn 1 Monastery Swift Spear, attack, maybe they deal with that. Turn 2 Ledger Shredder, then they gotta deal with that. So, oops. I don't care about dungeon information. There. So, yeah, so they'll probably be able to kill this Swift Spear with, like, I don't know, Wild Slash, Play with Fire, or something. But that's... Oh, their own Soulscar Mage. That's fine. So, let's untap, and I've got Aether Gust here. So... what do I want to do with this? I think the answer is actually nothing. Yeah. I'm gonna do nothing. So if they want to go ahead and excuse me, cast like a stomp at my Swift Spear, then I can respond by casting Aether Gust at Soulscar Mage. So that the 2 damage doesn't kill Swift Spear and the Soulscar Mage trigger never happens. So that's a line that's on the table for me.
Power off.
I don't know how many times I'm going to keep making that same mistake, so yeah. Alright, so Swift Spear is going to just kind of chill then for a turn, I guess. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh no, I don't have a land, never mind. I was gonna say, am I actually gonna get to draw this Crush the Week? Oh, that's not bad though. Yeah, I think I'm just going to get an attack on here. So I'm gonna get a little frisky. If they want to... Actually, no, I'm not gonna get frisky. Reason being, I can just play this and be safe. If they're stuck on 1 land, then that's okay too, but... Okay, so they have 2 anyway. That's fine. So if they're going to cast an Eidolon first, then I get to show an Aether Gust, whatever. If they are going to... What's this? A Lightning Strike targeting my Swift Spear. Okay, so I'm just going to blank that with an Aether Gust. So now I have a 2/3 as well as their 2/3s, and I get to next turn. They do get to attack. So they will get an attack with 2 points in, and I'm going to go to 18. That's kind of whatever. Yeah. But what's going to end up happening here is that I'm going to get to untap Ledger Shredder into Play with Fire. Oh my god, that's great. And clear one of these out with a Play with Fire. I'm going to get rid of probably the Aether Gust, but let's actually check my draw step before I answer that in full. I will in fact get rid of Aether Gust here. Okay. I'm going to play that as a second blue source and get my attack for 2. So now they can Lightning Strike targeting either the Ledger Shredder or the Swiss Spear. They can just clear the Swiss Spear, and that's kind of whatever. And if they want to bring the Ledger Shredder down to a 0/1, they're allowed to do that as well. So, I don't know, your move, Yugi. An Eidolon. I think that's better for me than it is for you, opponent. Okay, I don't have an attack that I actually want to make currently, but I think I will still cast a Ledger Shredder. Yes? Thinking? Yeah. I'm gonna cast this, take 2, go to 16. And I don't think I want to attack with this one. Or do I? No, that's a lie. I think I do want to attack. So that does a couple of things. Ramunap Ruins is already going to be hurting them for when they tap with it, right? Okay, so another Ramunap Ruins, sure. I would prefer to have the Eidolon off the table, but if I can work that to my advantage rather than theirs, then I think I'm okay with that too. So we know one of their cards is a Lightning Strike, and that can just clear out the Ledger Shredder. That's a 1/3. I would have them go to 12 for casting it. Then I take 4 and go to 12, and then I have these 2 creatures to their nothing. Well, I may as well do this because it's not like they're not going to cast anyway. So let's, yeah. So if I do this, I'm gonna do it like that. So that does force them to block, but also, okay, I was gonna say it also makes them consider the fact that I might have a spell there. Swiss Spear, okay. Actually, that wasn't bad for me. So I'm gonna get to, oh, they're not even gonna, oh my God, let's go. Oh, that's really good for me, I think. Don't need that. Don't want that. Oh my God. So they can cast Kamano if they want, but they gotta pay 3 life to do it. Oh my God. Opponent, you're at 6. I am showing 5 power right now. I'm gonna try my best to win the game right now. And there it is. So I'm gonna play this. And for the sick rubbins, I can cast Crush the Weak too. I mean, it's not really a sick rubbin. I'm just literally casting a spell that I already want to be casting, and it triggers the thing. So, yeah. Skip that. Hell yeah, let's go. So, 2-0, and let's hope we can keep it going. All right, so we got round 3, and I would in fact like to play first. So let's go ahead and reveal our friend Jeff here. And what's our hand? So we've got 4 lands, which is kind of medium, but I'm on to play with 2 Prowess friends and an Opt, so I actually am going to keep this. And our opponent's mulling to 6 too, so we may get rewarded for this decision. If they're a little light on removal because of this mulligan, or if we simply get to just get off to a really fast start and they can't deal with anything, either way, I'm pretty happy about that. So let's see if that's what ends up happening here. Boseiju, okay. And Boseiju Llanowar honestly doesn't really tell us much. They could be any of the Winota variant, they could be mono green. There's a lot of decks they could be. So let's just get our attack on since we don't have a removal for the elf. But I do like developing this Ledger Shredder now, right? Because like if they're mono green, they're gonna have a bitch of a time dealing with this. And Brutal Cathar, Innkeeper plus... Oh, they just didn't want to take damage, duh. I'm like, why the hell would you do this? Got it. So I can't stop them from playing Winota. That's just not a thing. So instead, I'm going to cast Opt, and I guess I'm just gonna cast Consider instead, and look for Reckless Rage. That's a Sprite Dragon. I will put that into Graveyard. Another Ledger Shredder. While that is really good, that's not a card that I want right now. So let's connive first. I don't necessarily need a Soulscar Mage here. That's not a Reckless Rage. Poops. Okay. So this could end pretty poorly. Since, yeah, we got a giant pile of 3 lands and no cards named Reckless Rage. Honestly, I would have also accepted a, even just like a Play with Fire to stop them from having an attack. Oh my God, is this just an Esika's Chariot? I mean, it's still not great if it's an Esika's Chariot, but I would rather deal with that than a Resolved Winota. Oh, a Brutal Cathar. That's still annoying, but we can deal with that. With a Play with Fire. That is a thing that deals with that. So let's Ledger Shredder first, because I do want to connive. Because remember, I'm still trying to find a copy of Reckless Rage to deal with a potential... Oh, that's nice too. Alright, well, I don't want that. So we're gonna get our attack on here, and basically I'm just really hoping they don't find a Winota, and if they do, then we have the potential to get really screwed here. But if they don't have that, even if they have a Chariot, I think we're still okay thanks to this EI. So the EI can find us a couple of good spells, hopefully one of which is Reckless Rage, and that'll give us some productive attacks, which is nice. If they just cast Grave Titan here, then that is really obnoxious, but I don't know that we can't deal with that either. Okay, so it looks like this is just gonna be a Grave Titan. Alright, you got it. I'm not a fan of Grave Titan because it's just super huge and annoying, but, you know, oh hey, is a turn late, but it is the card I asked for. So let's go ahead and get ready to level up our friendly Ledger Shredders here. And I have a land drop to make too, so that's pretty sick actually. So I guess I can cast Ledger Shredder, trigger the other two, and then place Buyer Bluff Canal as the... No. I'm gonna keep Swift Spear in hand, keep this in hand, bottom this, exile this. So now I can make my land drop. Yeah, this seems great. So make my land drop, play the Ledger Shredder, and the Connives can get rid of Monastery Swift Spear that I don't really care for. There's one. Yes, I will get rid of a Consider. So now you go down to 11. And I'm at 17, so I can take an attack from the Huntmaster, and that's not that bad. If I draw another spell, then I'll get more Connives, and the Play with Fire can even potentially go to their face. So fingers crossed that some of our decent looking options are actually decent looking. Yeah, alright, I'm here for it. So yeah, I'm just gonna take this. That's kind of whatever. It's not completely free, like I don't want to be at 11, but it's certainly not the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody. And there's a cat car, so you got it. Okay, so you're going up to 13. I can't really do much about that. I have 2, 4, 5 flying currently. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is Connive. So I am looking for a few more points of damage here. Swift Spear is not really what the doctor ordered. I can Swift... I am going to cast a Swift Spear, though. It's because I still want to trigger my Connives. So I'm going to Play with Fire and target the face. Don't need that. Don't need that. Again. So don't need that part 3. Okay. So you go to 11, and I believe I'm going to bottom that. Yeah, because I want to spell. So we're looking at 3, 6, 8, and I'm trying to dodge lethal through all of this, and I have a Reckless Rage to help do it, which means I'm actually going to accept a 2-turn clock anyway, so I should just attack with 2 friends. Because I still have lethal if they can't deal with these, as long as I don't die this turn. My only mission is to not die here. And I have played a spell, so this is not going to flip, so I'm here for that. I can deal with the cat car with just Reckless Rage, so... I won't go so far as to say that we're full confident, but this is not bad. Like, I'm showing lethal even if they gain 3 additional life off of the Prosperous Innkeeper. So if I live, and hopefully all the Ledger Shredders do too, then that's super gas. Elvish Mystic, fine, you go to 6. Now if you play another spell, I'm going to get to Connive a bunch too, which changes your math. They're going to crew now, which is fine by me, of course. Begin combat. You can quite literally die in a fire if you don't mind, please and thank you. So now I've got some... Yeah, let's go. So we're going to do the same thing as last time, right? Like, I'm just going to side into basically all of the removal. And the cards that I don't necessarily want include all of the cantrips. And... what did I side out other than the cantrips? Was it 2 copies of Swift Spear or 2 copies of Soulscar Mage? I don't remember which it was, so I'm gonna go with the Swift Spears. I'm gonna keep the Soulscar Mages in over the Swift Spears because of the fact that I have these red cap melees and things, and I would like these to be able to target non-red creatures if need be. So that's gonna be our sideboarding plan for here. I'm fairly certain this is what I did last time, but I straight up don't remember. So let's do it like this, because our Air Force is going to be a lot more viable as an actual team of attackers than Swissbeard really will ever be in this matchup. So let's just do this. And once again, we're hoping to just see like a giant pile of removal, and we're going to try to pair that up with some flyers for the win. And so far, it's been a pretty good recipe for success here, so we're gonna keep this. And Soulscar Mage is still not like, you know, the craziest threat, but I will be pretty excited to potentially Soulscar Mage, you know, kill a creature, kill a bunch of creatures. So if they get stuck on mana and I get to crush to weak their dorks, even better. Oh, no mana dork. Okay, so oops, that's not red. That's red. So here is an Innkeeper. Okay, so they are going to have access to Winota next turn, but that's fine because I've got my Rending Valley. So that's not really going to do anything or have too much text. And I don't mind playing a Swiftspear either. 1-2. And I need to pay 2 to foretell that, so I'm just not going to. Also, I don't think I want to foretell anyway, because that actually tells them what I have. Because it's not like this deck plays another foretell spell, right? Like, I suppose they could try to get it. Whoa, whoa, opponent. Okay. All right. I see you out here. So what is this, a cat car? It is, in fact, a cat car. Okay. So I'm not going to be able to do much about that. And I think I need to wait exactly 1 turn if I want to use my Crush to weak. That's a good draw though. I mean, I don't necessarily want more lands, but if I have to have a land, that's the one to have this turn. So I guess I am just gonna cast my Crush to weak and be really sad if their next draw is a Winota, right? So I'm gonna have some 2/3s. These things are all gonna go away. They can crew this in response, but it's gonna get -2 counters if they do. So even, oh my god, that's actually a thing that you're doing? Wow. All right, well, I'm gonna attack. So if they decide to play a land, have Winota, use Winota to chariot this, that is whatever, because there's no tokens anymore. I can still untap Rending Valley. If they miss on a trigger, then I'm pretty happy about that. That's okay. Whoa. Opponent. Another Innkeeper? A Thalia. That's fine too, actually. Yeah, sure, I'll take 2. So, I have decisions to make. I can kill this and kill the token. Actually, no, that's just a good choice. I don't need to think about that hard. Fuck, Thalia. Alright. So I can play to land, kill this, kill the token, leave Thalia alone. Yes, I think I kind of like that. Yeah, alright. Let's do that. So that's going to be a 2/2. Okay. Actually, I think that means I should give them the chance to... Should I give you a chance to block? Oh, you know what? Duh. As much as I play Thalia, that was a stupid line. So what I could have done and should have done is simply killed Thalia first, and then I would have had the mana for these two, and I just... Don't ask me why I fucked that up so hard, but it's what we did. So that's fine. If they crew this, I don't mind at all, because it means that I'll still just be able to get rid of this with a Rending Valley. And if they attack me with Thalia, I really just don't care. So they're not going to get a token. I will take 4 if they want me to take 4. That's fine. I go to 13. They're still at 10. And if I draw another spell, I'm pretty happy about that. Swiftspear is in fact another spell. Okay. So... do I want to kill Thalia here, or do I want to save my Rending Valley for a potential Winota draw? I think I'm going to save for a potential Winota draw and just attack for 2. Because I can just kill Thalia on their turn, and it'll proc Prowess too. So I'm just going to do this, and keep this on the table. So having that on the table enables me to play Jeff. If I just get to buy it next turn, maybe I just draw air. So like that's a potential route. Yeah, this draw of just like Chariot with no Winota or anything is unfortunately for them kind of nonsense. Whoa, what is that? Another Chariot. Okay. So you have options here. Opponent can... What can they do about this? They can... Well, that's going to resolve. I'm not going to do anything about that. I could have killed Thalia in response, but I don't think I need or care to. And they are going to keep the big one. Okay, that's fine. I think I want to give myself maximum prowess triggers. A ledger shredder, that's really good for me. All right, well, let's do that. I do not want to cast my Rending Valley now. I want to give them leeway to cast 2 spells or have Rending Valley up to defend against the Brutal Cathar. Either way, I'll be pretty happy to potentially do something with this nice flyer. Not happy that the Chariot's going to end up getting through, but currently not much I can do about that. Alright, so we're going to crew here. Can't do much about that. I will get to line up a nice block, though, so that part is sweet. So we're attacking with just that. You do get another cat. That's kind of whatever. And I'm going to do this. So now I get prowess, and I can block this thing with both of my Swift Spears. I won't be happy if they get exactly another Chariot. So if they get to just, like, play a third one, then, like, you got me, opponent. But trading a Chariot for just 1 Swift Spear is super dope. A Brutal Cathar. Okay, yeah. So I can't do anything about that anyway. You're going to take my Ledger Shredder, and that's kind of whatever if I draw a spell. Oh my god. I legitimately didn't even consider that as an option for something I could draw. That is actually absurd. Thank you, deck, for being so kind and lovely, and you are smart and thin for giving me all of the things. Wow, deck. Okay. I am here for that for sure. So I guess I'm just gonna start with an attack, right? Like, let's do some swing things.
Power off.
Once again, the power is off on my Bluetooth speaker. I will literally never remember to turn that off before recording anything. Okay. Oh, look at you go, opponent. That's not gonna work, but, yeah. So, I can take back my flyer. I can just kill this and get both of my tokens. I want my flyer more than the other things. Did I just tap for blue? I did. So I'm just gonna do that and get my Ledger Shredder back, and I'll accept my 3 damage to the face and they can go to 5. So I'll take one of these out and that's whatever. I don't really care that the other one died there. That's okay. This is not exactly a great offense against me. If they have Winota here, then this sucks a lot. Fuck. Okay, fine. This sucks a lot. Oh, man. I can't be that mad, though, because I also got a really good top deck, so, like, and what is that? Athalia. Okay. So, I guess I just do this, take 10, go to 3, untap, and I guess I'm just, oh, I go to 1, right, that's attacking. I guess I'm just doing some finger crossing at this point? Like, what can I draw? Not that. That's for damn sure. I guess I'm paying 5 real mana and seeing what happens. 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Oh my god, Thalia. Fuck, I can't win through Thalia. Yeah. Alright, you got me. Let's go to game 3. We're gonna run it back the exact same way, though. Our plan was good. It's just that, you know, Winota resolved. Not much you can do when Winota resolves, right? Alright, so looks like our opponents gotta be doing something with changing their sideboard. Maybe they're stuck restarting their client like we were earlier. That was a hot mess. LOL, opponent, if that's the case. Alright, so we are going to play first this time. Let's refill Jeff. And what do we got? We got 2 lands, a bunch of creatures, some EIs, and some flyers. Keep. So really the only thing missing from this little formula here is some removal. That's really all we want. Everything else is pretty good. We have early things, we have flyers, we have card advantage, and I don't really know that I'm going to ask the deck for any more than that. Okay, so let's see what our opponent's going to come up with here. Oh, Sacred Foundry, so nothing. Literal nothing. Alright, so I'm going to play this, and we're going to Ledger Shredder to start here. And I like Ledger Shredder over the Sprite Dragon here because like I'm like almost 100% casting EI here unless I draw a removal spell and actually want to remove the thing they play this turn. Innkeeper. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so I'm definitely casting EI here. And let's resolve that. Oh my god, that's really good for us actually. So I can... Ooh... I don't get everything though, do I? Because this happens to be a, you know, a green creature, and I don't get to red cap melee because I played Swift Spear instead of Soulscar Mage, so there's our downside there. And the Rending Volley is definitely going to hand. I want that for next turn, not this turn. So I think I'm going to sacrifice the land anyway and melee the Innkeeper. That plays around them being able to just kill me with a Winota draw off of Innkeeper. And I think, and I have enough lands to be able to do this, so I think this is actually an okay line. So I am going to do this. I'm going to sacrifice the land. We're also going to, oops, what did I click? Hopefully nothing super relevant there. I don't need Steam Vents or Den of the Bugbear. Let's think about that. It could also just be the Soulscar Mage. Yeah, it actually is a Soulscar Mage. All right, so that's gonna happen. I am gonna sacrifice the land. I'm sad about that, but whatever. 1, 2. If they just resolve a Winota this turn, though, I am still pretty happy about the way we played that. If they resolve a Chariot, that's annoying, but I can play around that. I'll have 2 flyers, and if they resolve a Winota the following turn, then I can still Rending Volley it, and that's okay. I would have liked for maybe a Play with Fire so that I didn't have to sack a land there. That might come to bite me in the butt later, but I think for now, yeah, okay, that's fine. I don't necessarily enjoy it, but that's fine. Okay, green, another Innkeeper? No. A Brutal Cathar? A Fable, that's fine. I don't necessarily love it, but it's gonna happen. So what do we got here? A Spikefield Hazard. That has 0 text here. Let's go ahead and Steam Vents. And I'm just gonna play the dragon. I'm not gonna get a cute attack in with the Swift Spear to, you know, try to maybe Spikefield Hazard, and I don't think we need to do all that. So instead, I'll just get my attack for 1 that's guaranteed. They do get to loot and dig for maybe a Winota, maybe a Cat Car. Oh my god, they just didn't use the ability at all. Okay, well, that is not a good sign for us, in case anybody was wondering. Okay, so there's an Innkeeper. Now my Spikefield Hazard has text. What's this? Athalia? Archon of Ameria. Okay, I have not played a spell, so I don't know that I really care about that right now. So you get a life, you go to 9, etc., etc. If you attack here, I get to Spikefield Hazard the... Aww. I guess that means I just... Ooh, let's think about that. I can Spikefield Hazard this now. This grows to 3. I can Rending Volley this now. Yeah, I'm gonna Rending Volley this now. This grows. Alright. And let's see what I can draw now. Nah, that wasn't really it. Alright, so I want to attack with both. If they block, I can Spikefield Hazard this. Yeah, alright. And I can play the land to kind of sandbag it too, so let's do that. 1, 2. Okay, no blocks. Do I want to buy Jeff, or do I want to kill this thing? I think I want to kill this thing. Okay, so they're at 4. I am not necessarily enjoying that, but it's what it is. Let's see, what else can they do? They can just kill my Sprite Dragon, and I don't like that. That's a Winota. I also don't like that. So they get 1 trigger. Okay, please don't have exactly Brutal Cathar. Oh my god, they had nothing. I love it when they have nothing. That plays. So now I need literally any spell to play with this Sprite Dragon, or for this card to not be a removal. That is in fact a spell. Okay. Fuck it, let's... we're gonna go for it. So, I don't know, no Rending Volley off the treasure, please? No! Aw, man. Alright, fine. Ugh, gross. I mean, you still gotta block this, so... At least I'm getting rid of the Kiki token, but Jesus, man. Oh my god, you are brave. Unfortunately for me, we just didn't have a spell, so... Sucks to be me. Oh, damn it. Upside, though. if this draw is relatively lackluster, they only have one card left, then the Den of the Bugbear can just get a sweet attack in. So that is a thing that's on the table. I can draw a spell, and that's really good. Even if I don't draw a spell, Gigantha's still not bad. Like, this isn't actually good, but it's not nothing. I can also just draw Play with Fire, or I can draw a freaking Treasure Cruise. All right, well, let's do that. And if this Treasure Cruise draws a Play with Fire, then I guess we're just good on the spot. So let's, we can cast it. Okay, that plays. Hell yeah, let's go. 3-0, including 2 wins over Winota. Let's all right, Prowess, I see you. All right, round 4 is up. We are on the draw. That's okay. We can reveal Jeff, and our hand is fine. So we've got a lot of creatures. No removal currently, but oh no, I'm sorry. We have a Reckless Rage right here. What am I talking about? No, whatever. Hand's good. So let's keep this and see what our opponent's cooking up here. We see 0 Companion, which doesn't really tell me too much. Forest Elf. Okay, so we might be looking at mono green. That elf is currently looking at mono dead. Or I guess exiled, but whatever. Y'all get the point. And it looks like we are in fact fighting against mono green. Okay, fine. You got me. Fine. Can't really do much about all those. So let's go ahead and start off with Ledger Shredder. Here, next turn, I'll be able to, Sprite Dragon, Reckless Rage if they play something big and threatening and scary. And if this is a copy of Cavalier of Thorns, I'll be pretty happy to just Soulscar Mage instead. Voracious Hydra. That can fight my friend? Gross. You suck. Alright. Alright. So here, I guess, do I just start off with Sprite Dragon into Soulscar Mage? Or do I double Soulscar Mage, hold up Reckless? I think I double Soulscar Mage and hold up Reckless. So, okay, so there's a Cavalier. Got it. So here, I actually don't really, oh my god, I gotta nick those off of it too, yikes. Okay, so they're not going to try to do anything with that, so I guess I'll just untap, because I can at least get a counter out of the Sprawl. Oh my god, that's good. That worked out okay. So here I can Sprite Dragon, Reckless Rage the Cavalier so that it's nowhere near enough power and toughness to actually compete with this thing. And I'll get counters on the Sprite Dragon the entire time. So let's put Prowess here, Yields here, and this can happen here. All right, so let's... Oh, we're just not blocking at all. Okay, so we want the 3 pips for the Nykthos then, so this is gonna make, what, 6, 7, 8 mana total? 8 is a lot. Oh, that's not 8 anymore. So that's gonna be 6. So they go up to, what, untap this? You got it. That is a lot of mana incoming, okay. And another Cavalier, boo, come on. And a Storm the Festival on top of everything else. Jeez. All right, opponent. I mean, I guess that was as friendly as a Storm the Festival could have gotten. Oh my, do you have 7 lands? Yes, you do, so this can do the thing. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So let's draw 3 cards, see what comes of that. That's okay. So next turn, a Sprite Dragon plus EI might actually end... Okay, that's gonna draw them a card, which is annoying. Now what? Old Growth Troll drawing another card. So now they make a shit ton of mana. Oh my god. So they're just gonna have like 100 Lair of the Hydra. Is that what we're doing here? No. Oh yeah, duh. I actually forgot that was in the graveyard. And they got a Karn. Okay. You got me. Let's go to game 2. Yeah, sometimes your opponent's just gonna have the 3 copies of what am I thinking? The 3 copies of their Llanowar Elves early, and there's really just like not much I can ever do about that, right? So here, I think I like this. Let's double check real quick. Yeah, okay. So here I still get to have Crush the Weeks, which are great against multiple mana elf draws, like the one we saw. That would have helped a lot. And of course, Aether Gust is just good against their entire deck that's not Karn. And they play enough Planeswalkers to the point where I think Negate's good, especially since they're also playing Storm the Festival. And this is going to be one of those matchups where, remember, we talked about some decks are just going to be able to outpace the Spell Pierces, right? This is 100% that matchup. So I'll be pretty glad to have Negate instead of Spell Pierce against a deck that just like does not give a shit about Spell Pierce at all. So let's sideboard like this. We're going to take out a lot of this empty air. We're going to keep in all the removal. We're going to put in more removal. And we're going to take out like the kind of fluff that are considers an ops. I'm pretty sure we mentioned this in a different league, or a different match, but when you have Treasure Cruise, I definitely want Consider more than I want Opt. And this is fine. It's not necessarily perfect. I would prefer a removal spell for an elf here, but honestly, if I get to like start off with just, you know, creature, consider, I still think that's good enough. So now let's see what our opponent's gonna cook up with here after this elf, of course. Oh, well, that plays. So here I'm going to get to just do this, and I will still be pretty happy to do this. So I get to attack. They of course are slowed down by a turn, which hopefully takes them off of something important like Old Growth Troll this turn. They can play Wolf Willowhaven. Yeah, that's whatever. I can't do anything about that anyway. Here I'm gonna start with an EI. And I want this in my hand. I want this. Where do I want that? I think I want the Consider in the deck in Swift Spear on the table. Yeah, because that's how I'm going to be able to win these games, right? Like, we're just going to get to, like, aggro them all the way out, and hopefully that's kind of good enough. We do have the Aether Gust, of course, so, like, that'll put a really big problem permanent here, just right back where it belongs, away from the battlefield. I am, however, going to... Oops. I want to upkeep stop during my turn. Yes? Thinking... I think I just want to attack and consider holding up Aether Gust. If they block, great. If they don't, fine. A Ledger Shredder. I will not put that in my graveyard. I actually do want that. And I don't think I really want to like foretell this or get super cute or anything like that. I think I just want to be able to Aether Gust whatever they're doing and then crush the weak and then just kind of untap and kill them, right? That seems like a much better thing here. So 2/3 turns into 3. That doesn't do anything. So now this is technically plus 1 mana for 5. Okay, 5 mana total. Okay. We're doing nothing? I will untap and let you do nothing. That plays. I don't really want that. I'm gonna play the Ledger Shredder. I don't know what they can come up with, but I'd rather not deal with it, right? So let's just go ahead and get my attack on here, accept my 1 point. That's fine. And I'll be pretty glad to just Aether Gust whatever they do and then kind of continue from there. Like, they're the ones who are stuck having actions, not me. Storm the Festival. And yeah, I don't mind sticking them on just... So now they only have 2 mana to play with, which is really nice. And they put Storm the Festival on the bottom. Okay. Do we draw a spell? Oh my god, we do. And that's a good one too. Alright. So let's play our Crush the Weak, because it does not do anything to our creatures, but it kills this Hydra and clears it out. And then I'll have just enough mana to be able to Treasure Cruise too. So I've got 2, 4, 6 showing 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, let's go. Alright, on to game 3. And we're not going to change our sideboard plan at all. We're just going to go ahead and run that right back, because, well, it obviously worked. Kill the creatures, keep them off of stuff, hopefully, and cross the finish line with our creatures, which are faster. This is fine. Okay. 0 things about our plan have changed here. We kill the elves. Another elf, okay. Another Soulscar Mage, okay. So, I can Soulscar Mage on the table. Reckless Rage, I can Reckless Rage. They have a lot of good 3-drops, like copies of, oh, what am I thinking of? Old Growth Troll, duh. That's the card I was trying to think of this entire time, right? I'm like, what is that stupid 3-drop 4/4? So do I want to develop a Ledger Shredder and potentially Soulscar Mage Reckless Rage next turn? Or do I want 1, 2, 3, 4 is what they have next turn. 4 mana is exactly what? A Karn. 4 mana is not a Vivian because they don't play it. It is a Nykthos plus Cure, which doesn't matter. So I think this is the turn that I am relatively safe to develop my Ledger Shredder, because a Voracious Hydra can't beat this thing either. So if they want to play a Voracious Hydra at 4 mana, then they can do so. Okay, so there's a Karn. And Karn is going to get a what? I would really love to draw a land here. Okay, they drew a Battle Boat. Got it. Play with fire. I want to Soulscar Mage, spell 1, play with fire targeting Llanowar Elves as spell 2, connive, hopefully I see a land. That'd be great. It's not a land. I guess I want Soulscar Mage least, so yeah, because the haste can be pretty good. So let's do that, I guess. I am very sad about that not being a land, but I can't really do anything about it currently. The cool part about this next turn, especially if I draw a land, is that I can both Reckless Rage and hold up Negate for Battle Boat next turn. Here they can just plus on nothing, and that's whatever. An elf, you got it. Oh my god, yes. Oh, perfect, perfect, let's go. I love that. I love that for just us. So here I'm going to be able to play this Monastery Swiftspear, and let's get some attacks in. So here I can kill Karn, attack your face, attack your face. Okay, and the negate will be able to help protect us from the battle boat, so that's a huge, huge plus. So if they tap out for that, then we're a stomper, so that's the thing that can go get a land out of the deck. Okay, I have nothing smart to say about that. You can just get your land. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This needs 7 lands. Yes. I am still going to Reckless Rage this thing. I have 4 mana, I have 5 mana. I'm sorry, I have a total of 8 if I'm talking about Treasure Cruise math, but I don't think I want to do that. Instead, I think I just play this tapped, hold up my negate for the same battle boat, and then just kind of play from there, right? Like, we know they're only working with 2 cards, and one of them is the battle boat, so if we can just like counterspell that, untap Treasure Cruise plus, I don't know, maybe something else. Okay, so I will be very happy to negate that. And if their last card is like, I don't know, some kind of, fine. I was gonna say if it was some kind of creature or something that can cast on the cheap, I'll be really happy about that. But ooh, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I can draw the cards, and if I draw a land, I'm still holding up Aether Gust mana, so that's kind of perfect. 3 cards is a lot to be able to draw a land.
Power off.
Ah, there it is. I was wondering how long that would take until I managed to forget yet again. So I'm just going to play this, and I'm going to continue to hold up my Aether Gust. I don't really need to click more buttons. And drawing Otawara is potentially really helpful too, because now if they decide to, I don't know, like draw Karn plus something relevant, then what is this? Beseiju my Steam Vents. I do in fact have a basic mountain in my deck, so that's not going to go too well upon it. Oh, a basic land type. I forgot about that part. That doesn't change anything about the way I play that, but whoa, what's this? Absolutely not, opponent. Hell yeah, let's go. 4-0. So we've played against some really good decks so far, and we are currently overcoming all. Fingers crossed for round 5. All right, 5th and final round. Can we get the trophy? We can win the die roll, which is a super good sign, and our hand is acceptable. I've got removal on turn 1, creatures that I want to play on turn 2, and EI for turn 3. All things considered, I am fairly happy. Good luck to Intrepid 0. I feel like I should know who that is. I've played against this person before. I think I'm going to look him up after this round. Anyway, let's get rid of our upkeep stop from last round. I don't really need that right now. So I want to cast nothing, so I'm not going to. Let's just pass the turn. And what are we playing against in round 5? Haunted Ridge. Okay, so we're likely playing against Black-Red, which is honestly a pretty good deck against us a lot of the time. So I can play Ledger Shredder first because this plays around Bone Crusher Giant and Sprite Dragon does not. So if they have a Dreadbore, then I already wasn't beating a Dreadbore, but if it happens to be like, okay, so it was a Dreadbore, and it's kind of what it is. Like, I already, like I said, just wasn't beating that anyway. So here I have a few options. I can EI for a land drop. I can play Ledger Shredder and hope to dodge another copy of Dreadbore, but they can also just like Fatal Push that, right? So I think I'm just going to EI first. And honestly, that's fucking terrible. So I do want the Reckless Rage. I don't really want Soulscar Mage, so I guess I'll skip out on that and we'll cry about the missed land drop. Oh man, that's upsetting. So now if this is the 3/3, then I just am sad about that. Yeah. So downside to this, I have to discard a card to get rid of this thing with Reckless Rage. Oh, there it is. You're a little late, but that's okay. But I can cast like Reckless Rage here, and it will let me connive. And a cool part about that is that, well, now I don't really want the land, but I do want this to be a 2/4. Oh, What does exactly 3 damage in this deck? I think the answer is nothing, so I'm safe to discard Steam Vent here. So at least a Kalitas. Thank God we kept this Reckless Rage. Yikes, that is scary. Okay, so Sprite Dragon can come in. I can Reckless Rage, clean up the Kalitas, and I guess go from there. Now, let's see if I can manage to... Oh, nice. So a Bone Crusher Giant can still clean this Sprite Dragon up because the land came in untapped, which is unfortunate. But I already couldn't really do that much about it. A Trespasser. See, these are really annoying. Oh, I want Upkeep Stop. I want Upkeep Stop. So hopefully there's no Fatal Push for my Ledger Shredder. A Blood Tithe Harvester. Okay, I don't really want Soulscar Mage here. Cool. So I'm gonna opt in my upkeep. It procs the Sprite Dragon, and it makes me a lot more likely to draw a spell for my Ledger Shredder. I definitely do not want that. See, that's exactly why we did that though, because I did not want to draw that for my turn. So let's also consider here, and the Connive is gonna... Oh, sick. Do I want that in my graveyard? No, I want to draw that. Oh, whoops, I'm still in my upkeep. Okay, so now I can just cast this, and this doesn't kill anything unless they play another thing. Okay, their deck does play Thoughtseize, so I'm gonna keep this this Steam Vent in my hand on the off chance that they actually do just try to cast Thoughtseize in. I can kind of get them, you know. They're at 8, so I really highly doubt they would cast one even if they had one, but you never know, right? Like, they might just have no other options. Yikes, opponent. So they go to 9. I'm gonna do 0 things about that. Okay, so hopefully that's not like a push or a Dreadbore for my Ledger Shredder. I'm really looking forward to doing things with that. I will definitely not block. I'm at 13. What do you got? A Stomp. Boo. Okay. They can't cast that, which is cool for us. I can also just play the land and activate my Den of the Bugbear here, so that's sweet. Let's see what we get. Oh, it looks like something's dying. My Sprite Dragon, that's fine. I would rather activate my Den than play another Sprite Dragon, I believe. Yes. Here I could have chosen to just play the Sprite Dragon and buy my Gigantha, but I think closing the door here is going to be a lot better for us. And this also leaves room just in case they actually do draw double removal spell, right? Like, my Sprite Dragon is still pretty likely to be lethal here, so they can get rid of 2 creatures. They will go up to 4. I take a total of 6 and go to 5. But I think my combination of Sprite Dragon and Ledger Shredder is going to end up being good enough here. Obviously, it depends on what they draw, but... Oh, they're only doing 1? I wonder why they didn't get rid of 2 of my creatures. I think that was a mistake, opponent. Bone Crusher, yeah, sure. Alright, let's draw a spell. That, in fact, is a spell. We take those. And I don't really know that that needed to be done now, but... Alright. Is the card a... If their card happens to be a Fatal Push, I think I actually did just lose the game. Please do... Oh, thank God. Oh, I was really scared. I'm like, oh my God, did I just throw? I feel like I almost threw there. So I want the Hearse, I want the Red Cap melees. Do I want Aether Gust against this deck? The answer might be no. I also don't really think I want negates. So, negate hits what? It hits planeswalkers like Chandra and Sorin. It hits Fable of the Mirror Breaker, obviously removal spells. Is that better than keeping Considers in? Or Ops, rather? I think I want negates more than Opt. It will not put in the Aether Gust, but I think this is an acceptable sideboard plan against Black-Red. So the Unlicensed Hearse, of course, can stop a lot of their graveyard shenanigans because they do play Crocs and stuff. And also, it's just like a big giant thing that they can never Dreadbore, so that's also nice. I think I'm pretty comfortable with this as a sideboard plan, and Spikefield Hazard has basically no text in this matchup because none of their creatures have 1 toughness, so I don't really want that here. So let's reveal our friend Jeff, and what do we got? We got a couple of lands, we have creatures, we have a Consider to go along with all of them, I am okay with this. So if they Thought Seize me, that's actually okay because I've got 2 creatures that I want on turn 1 anyway. So having a great redundant draw is pretty sweet. And that is Fatal Push mana. So I think I'm just going to Consider and let them waste their turn too, right? Or do I make them use it so that it's empty for Sprite Dragon? I actually will do that. I'm going to make them use it so that it's empty for Sprite Dragon. Yeah, that's fine. So another reason I wanted to do that, especially in that order, is because now if I draw a Reckless Rage, that's fine. I think I actually get rid of a land. Yeah, I think I'm just going to take 3. You got me. Oh, I don't really want this anymore. So let's do this, and I'm going to play the Soulscar Mage. I'm going to do it like this because now I can Consider / Play with Fire in response to a Bonecrusher Giant Stomp, which is pretty sweet. If this is... Boo. Okay. That card is way too strong. EI, I do not want to put that in my graveyard. Oh, hey! Nice to see you. All right, sweet. So I'm going to get to Expressive first. Okay, I want EI in hand, this in my deck. I want to play this. And now I'm going to get to Red Cap Melee here. And the reason that I don't have to sacrifice a land is because this is going to replace the damage with just -1 counters. Since this never actually deals damage, I don't have to sacrifice a land, which is awesome. I don't really want Play with Fire here. So that's one of the things that we talked about earlier when going over the deck tech, was just like how sometimes you will just get to, you know, have your good cards be good. That's not terribly scary anymore, I think. So here I'm just going to... I have 5 cards. I can just pay 3 mana and cash in my Treasure Cruise now, or I can EI for a removal spell. I think I want to cash this in now. I do have a lot of 1 mana removal spells that I can't cast. Nice. Alright, so honestly I think that's still fine. So I'm gonna get to do this. I'm gonna attack, and they will get to loot and make a treasure token, which does suck. That's a big deal. They discarded nothing. They just kept their hand. Okay. So is this just gonna be a Kalitas? A Thought Seize. Well, too late now. I already drew 3 cards. They can take my EI, which is annoying, but too late now. They took my Ledger Shredder rather than my EI. I don't know that I agree with that choice, opponent, but whatever, you got it. Go blank. Aha. So here I'm going to discard my Dragon and my Den of the Bugbear, and I can still just EI next turn. Oh my god, I just drew a Sprite Dragon anyway. There is no justice in this universe. Sprite Dragon here. EI goes here. We do need to watch our life total. We are at 10. Oh my god, that's strong. I want Cruise in hand, you in the deck, and you in exile. We go to 8. Not a huge fan of that. And I actually do think I want to deny them a treasure token. 6. Okay. So they're at 6. They do have some problems to solve. Can they solve Sprite Dragon? Yes, they can. But they are empty-handed. And I'm going to immediately resolve another Treasure Cruise. Okay. So they're at 4, and I've got a lot of sweet stuff here. Hell yeah, let's get the trophy. Let's go. Yeah, let's go ahead and review the deck. Okay, so now that we've played our 5 rounds, you can see why when we went over the deck, I called it probably the best new deck in Pioneer. And that's because it really does just have a bunch of game against everything. Like, you have a good aggressive early plan, you have flyers to do basically whatever you want as far as combat goes, and, well, if you're not new to this channel, you know exactly how good flying can be. And, you know, we just have a lot of card advantage. Cards like Expressive Iteration and Treasure Cruise are just absolutely busted in half. And we even saw, like, against Black-Red Midrange, where even if you have to pay like 4 or 5 mana for a Treasure Cruise, that's still good enough. Drawing 3 cards is a ton, and we just got to do that so much. Like, it's so easy to proc it between like Consider, Opt, Ledger Shredder, and it's just, it's a solid, well-oiled machine. This deck is absolutely absurd. I think this is going to be one of those things that we will have to look out for in the future, both as, you know, Spirits pilots if you're on this channel because you're watching a lot of Spirits content, or really just getting into Pioneer as a whole anyway, because there's so many good cards here that you just want to be aware of, that you really just need to know what's happening here. Like, the Sprite Dragons can get out of hand really quickly. Like, we saw this thing attack for what, 5 and 6 sometimes, and that's a huge threat for just 2 mana. Same goes for Ledger Shredder, except it's even more of a big deal because you attack for 5 and 6 sometimes, but also you're looting your deck along the way, which is why is this card, oh, Jesus, it's good. And yeah, like, Expressive Iteration is just like easily the most busted card in almost every format right now. Like, it's seeing play in Standard, in the black-red Goldspan Dragon decks. It's seeing play here in this deck and like 5 other Izzet shells, like what, Phoenix, Control, this deck. Everything's playing EI. There's even just like a dedicated thing in the Ice deck that plays like a tempo deck but isn't as good as this deck, I believe. It's seeing play in Modern, obviously, in Blue-Red Murktide, 4-color Control, and a bunch of other decks. It's seeing playing Legacy, Blue-Red Delver is the best deck. It's seeing playing Vintage, Blue-Red Tempo is one of the best decks that plays Ragvan and Murktide and Expressive Iterations. So, like, you know, the same shell is just absolutely busted everywhere, right? Like, you resolve Expressive Iteration, you have a little bit of threats that are better than theirs, and you cross the finish line, and it works in literally every format. It's kind of absurd. But we got to show off a sweet new deck, we got to see cool toys, and we drew a bunch of cards along the way. We got a sick 5-0, which was obviously awesome, and yeah, that's gonna be our video. So I had a lot of fun playing this deck, obviously. Like, I've been playing blue-red decks for some time, honestly longer than I've been playing Spirits. So this was kind of a cool little bit to come back to a few weeks ago and then again today. So that was really fun. Our next league that we're going to play through is going to be a Simic Spirits list, so look forward to that whenever I choose to play Magic. And as always, if you like what you're watching, make sure to click like on this video, let me know that you like the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see y'all on the next one.